to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 49, then sunshine on Friday with a high of 70. Crooners is back after an exciting renovation featuring a new dining room, the brand new Maggie's Lounge, and expanded main stage seating. That's Crooner Supper Club, just north of 694 off Highway 65 in Fridley. More at croonersmn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post, located at 700 Nicollet Mall in downtown Minneapolis on the first floor of the Dayton's building. We support Native American artists.
Yes, we do. And also, we're going to be at the powwow. I think Ogama is going to talk about in her section this weekend. So we'll be out there, and Ogama won't be out there signing autographs, but I'm sure she'll have some autograph pictures that we can hand out. But without any further ado, Wendy, why don't we get to Ogama here with the news that you don't hear anywhere else?
Hi, Anim Buju, everybody. I'm Ogama Ganuakwe, and yes, I do plan to talk about the Undai Young Center's 23rd annual Cherish the Children Powwow. Grand entry is 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. this Saturday, June 4th, and I believe it is at I'm sorry, Harriet Island. There it is. It's 200 Justice O'Hange Boulevard in St. Paul, Minnesota. So if you're close enough to Wisconsin, that you could come over to the Twin Cities, MC is going to be Deanna Standing Cloud. She's a fantastic MC. We've had her on Native Roots Radio before and worked with her with some other projects. And head dancer lineup looks fabulous too. So again, NDI Young Center's annual Cherish the Children powwow happening in St. Paul, Minnesota this Saturday. Grand entries at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. So exciting news we've got there. I wanted to touch base. I've been seeing some reports, Robert, have you seen any of the posts for people who are saying that it's not summer until a buffalo gores a tourist?
Yeah, I did. I think that's a cool T-shirt too. I did.
Yes. So what happened on May 30th is a 25-year-old woman from Grove City, Ohio, approached a bison within 10 feet of a bison at Yellowstone National Park. And two other individuals were also within 25 yards of the same bison. Park regulations at Yellowstone are to stay more than 25 yards away from the bison. But however, the bison consequently gored the woman and tossed her 10 feet into the air. She sustained a puncture wound and other injuries. The incident is remaining under investigation, but wildlife in Yellowstone National Park are wild. Hey, how did we not know that? And obviously can be dangerous when approached. So she broke the rules and got hurt, which is very unfortunate for her, but also, a reminder of the power of these animals, that the buffalo or the bison is very sacred in Native culture. And part of that reason is because they are so powerful. So fun fact.
Did Wendy have something to add?
I just wanted to say it reminded me of the last time when a woman approached a bison way too close, and she was also tossed in the air, but her pants came off and were hanging on the bison's horn for like a long time. So
right, because nobody else could get close to that bison again to take the pants off of its
right.
horn. Right, exactly.
Oh my
So
God.
fun fact, bison have actually injured more people in Yellowstone National Park than any other animal. They are really unpredictable and they can actually run 3 times faster than humans. And also fun fact, this year marks 150 years for Yellowstone National Park. Another fun fact that I wanted to touch base on today too is that on this date, June 2nd in 1924, Native Americans gained U.S. citizenship. So the Indian Citizenship Act was enacted by Congress and granted citizenships to all Native Americans born in the U.S. However, the right to vote was governed by state law until 1957, and we did not have the right to practice our own religion under federal law until 1978. I believe, Robert, you talk about remembering when that happened.
Yeah, and with our guest today, Robert Lilligren, too, how he was a senior in high school, and I was a junior in high school, and yeah, it's amazing. And I know you mentioned that too, but I gotta to bring it up again that a lot of the states didn't let natives be citizens all the way up to the early '60s.
Right. Yep. A lot of that was still governed by state law, or they just simply refused to follow it. So, yeah, it's not ancient history what happened with Native Americans and is still happening with us. But some other exciting news that's happening, Indigenous college students are invited to apply for a 1 semester full ride scholarship for tuition, lodging, and food for the Fall Wizipen Leadership and Sustainability Program in the Black Hills of South Dakota. It is 15 college credits with a certificate from South Dakota State University. The application deadline is coming up on June 15th. Current Indigenous university students from any tribe in the U.S. can apply. Students will attend a semester of personal growth and preparation as future Indigenous leaders, and then they return to their home university in spring 2023. Again, it's a single semester experience, but it's an immersive academic experience that's grounded in Lakota philosophy, and it is based on a Lakota term that translates to the heart of everything that is. So there's going to be in education, Indigenous narrative, language, culture, culture, kinship to land, all of those things. Plus you get credits from SDSU, South Dakota State University. So if you are a Native student in college right now and you're interested in that for next year, you want to apply at sdstate.edu/Wizipan, WIZIPAN. And the application form should be there, but I'm going to put it up on a little banner here for us all, for people who are tuned in. If you want to share that with your loved ones who might be in college right now, that would be great too. Wendy, did you hear about the sturgeon in Minnesota?
I did not.
Oh, so the Minnesota fishing page of the Minnesota DNR said that they posted a video, and it's the first verified lake sturgeon spawning event in the Red River Basin in over 100 years.
Wow.
So between 1880 and 1930, lake sturgeon were completely extinct in the Red River Basin from overfishing, and the Minnesota DNR was finally able to get them to spawn again. So that is super exciting. So apparently female lake sturgeon mature at 20 to 25 years, but will only reproduce once every 4 to 6 years, which is why they had such a hard time bringing them back. So, I mean,
that's good news.
It's good news. And it's actually, I mean, I watched the video and I'm not a fisher person. I don't fish really. I probably should learn how, but I don't. And normally I don't care too much about that, but it got me right in the feels to see that happening, you know?
Hey, that's
great.
all right. Ogma, fish feel pain, as Wendy says. Oh,
I suppose that's true. Everything does, right? Trees, all of those things they verified feel pain. The last event that I want to touch base on today is another Minneapolis event, but the Native American Community Clinic and Division of Indian Work are hosting a Learn the Basics of Jingle Dress Dancing in the Dakota Lodge. So they will be coming up, I believe, oh my gosh, and I don't have the date for this, but you want to check out the Division of Indian Work and the NAC website for information. But they are going to have Lisa Hill, who's the owner of Moccasin Flow Studios, which offers yoga, powwow dance, and powwow Zumba and yoga dance infusion classes. And they're going to be teaching people how to jingle dress dance. And apparently it's also followed with deep breathing and meditation exercises, which is also important when we're talking about the powwow trail. So everybody who's planning on getting out on the powwow trail this summer, I would like to implore all of you to take good care of your health. That COVID is still a thing. Make sure you are masking, getting vaccinated, and, you know, taking good care of your health and not dancing too hard. Right, Robert?
Oh yeah, and it's hard for me to do that. The round dance, that lateral movement, and all my former students make fun of me when they see me at the powwow trail doing that.
You know, the the round dance is the hardest of the powwows, in my personal opinion.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Ogama, for the news. Up next, Robert Lilligren. We'll be right back after this short message.
Stay with us.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Hey, I want to welcome everybody back. It's Thursday, and it's spring. It's really windy here in the Twin Cities, so my toupee was getting a little loose today, and we have trees and everything flying around. But it's also Robert Lilligren Day, and also the opening of the what you have in the parking lot at the Three Sisters. Help me, Robert.
Yeah, so we actually call it, hey, nice to see you all. Ogama, it's great to see you. Good to see you, Wendy. Good to see you, Robert. Great to be here. And so today at our organization, Native American Community Development Institute, we opened our farmers market for this season.
Yes.
We actually call it Four Sisters Farmers Market. To the traditional Three Sisters, we added a fourth, that's wild rice. And it was a great kickoff. Were you there? Did I miss you?
No, I didn't see the post until after it was done, and I was bummed.
Oh.
I did have some time too to run over, but next week.
Yep,
Oops, Robert got unplugged somehow. He's out in the beautiful wilderness there, so sometimes the coyotes come by and unplug stuff. Can you hear me, Wendy?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Let's write
It
a
looks
note.
like he's on mute.
Are you on mute, Robert? Try that once. It's a technical difficulty. It's hard to...
No, he's unmuted. He's unmuted and we still can't hear him. So we've got some sort of weird muting technical difficulty.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Maybe
Robert,
he should take his headset off.
Leave and come
Hear
back,
me?
Robert. Oh,
Oh, there we Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can hear you now, yeah.
Yeah, my headset's been giving me some problems lately, so I'll just go without it.
Sounds good. We can talk a little bit about the Four Sisters. Sorry about that. I drew a blank, and it's always exciting. And there's times there's music over there too, and yeah. So talk a little bit about that and who's there, because I saw a lot of good food.
Yeah, good. So Four Sisters Farmers Market is one of our big signature projects. It's in its 8th year now? Is that possible? And it's the farmers market. It's right in our parking lot on Franklin Avenue. Our building is zoned with powwow grounds and with All My Relations Arts. It's every Thursday, 11 to 2 through the season. It engages a lot of the native, local, urban farmers. Dream of Wild Health is a big vendor there. And then we also have people that make products, products from forage materials and other kinds of very cool native arts, really. And it's really been focused on the movement of food sovereignty and food access. We kind of live in a food desert there on East Franklin. And then also now it's branching out. We're starting our Four Sisters Urban Farm. It's a partnership with our county government here, Hennepin County. They've leased us for $1 a prime piece of real estate along the Midtown Greenway. And so we're farming that now. And it's really, it's a program that keeps our organization, NACDI, really authentically involved at the community level, and then helps inform how we kind of do systems change at the policy level or the government level. So it's really fun. It's really popular. It's one of the happening things on the American Indian Cultural Corridor. And I would invite anyone down. There's Bob Rice from Powwow Grounds, We'll be selling fry bread tacos, or fry bread pizzas. We have a soul food vendor as well. So come on down. It's kind of a happening scene.
It really is. I'm excited that it's happening again, especially since we all were put away for a couple of years in COVID. So this is really exciting to see people, and also, Dream of Wild Health. I always run into there's students that work there, and I have a lot of former students that are alumni of that was their first job working there. So it's always great to see that organization.
Agree. And they're just amazing. They're here in our environment. They're really the energy behind what's called the Indigenous Food Network, which is a great coalition of a lot of the Native orgs, not just food focused ones, but Indian education and others, where it's all about building a collaborative food ecosystem here in the Twin Cities, here along the American Indian Cultural Corridor. And they've just been incredibly great partners leading that effort.
Robert, can you talk, because we get new listeners all the time, and we're in the Twin Cities in Chicago and Milwaukee and Madison, just to talk a little bit about the corridor and maybe the little history behind the Franklin corridor? Wait, I think you're on mute again. Yes, you're on mute.
The computer would not let me unmute. I guess it's trying to tell me to shut up or something. But no, thanks for the question, Robert. And the American Indian Cultural Corridor is a geographic place here in South Minneapolis along East Franklin Avenue, which is a street that has been long associated with the Native community here for 50 plus years. And it's right in the heart of our really solid, geographically established Native community in Minneapolis, right? And Little Earth of United Tribes, a residential community that's just a few blocks from the Cultural Corridor, really helps anchor that residential presence of Native people in South Minneapolis. And then other people and organizations are all kind of built around that. Right along East Franklin, there's probably some 40 plus Native organizations or tribes that have facilities. And so it really creates a rare thing in this country, which is a geographic part of a city that's really identified with the Native community. And so from NACDI's work, convening the community, developing what's called the American Indian Community Blueprint, this idea of a cultural corridor emerged to leverage that strong Native presence into visibility and an economic engine that's really driven by the Native community, owned by the Native community, and the corridor has been developing along those ideas and concepts for about 10 years now, and it's really a strong presence.
It's exciting too, because I'm old enough to remember the bad vibes that area used to get, with the bars and all those things that really brought it down. And I know American Indian movement was moving and grooving there and trying to help out the community. So there's a lot of deep history too.
A lot of deep history, and that's super relevant. So the American Indian movement was founded right there, more or less on the footprint of the American Indian Cultural Corridor back in 1968. And the objectives of AIM to do two things: base progress on reestablishing culture, language, tradition, Native spirituality as a foundation, but also to establish agencies, Native agencies, to support the progress of our community. And that's where we are, right? I mean, how rich that area is in Native presence, Native organizations. And so I always feel like we're living in the legacy of AIM there,
Yeah.
right? And so someone at our part of life, it's like, what do we do with this legacy? And how do we best prepare to pass it on to people like Ogama and other young people? And so this, I feel like, is sort of the next iteration, how we leverage that success of those early objectives of AIM into the next generation, the new century of progress.
Yeah, and right down the street from you too is is a building, a building that's going to be remodeled after many, many years. Do you have any information on that, the Indian Center?
Yeah, the Minneapolis American Indian Center, founded in 1972, so it's a very long-standing Indian center. It's been fallen in. It needs infusions of capital, right? And it needed a kind of a new vision for the 21st century. And to their credit, the younger new leadership, Mary Lagarde, is the executive director. Their board, headed by Sam Olbixson, incredible native architect. They really revisioned the Indian Center for the 21st century as more of a destination on the American Indian Culture Corridor. So it's got the services that our community really relies on, but it'll have destinations, a more prominent restaurant, art gallery, retail, event space, and push it right up to Franklin Avenue, right up to the corridor. So I serve on the capital campaign for their rebuild, and it's been going very, very well. And we're just on the threshold of breaking ground, or they are, I should say. But they're closed for most programming now. They're emptying it out. I was talking to some of their staff today who stopped by Four Sisters Farmers Market. So they're emptying it out, getting ready for the rebuild. But that is going to be a major presence on the cultural corridor.
Do you know when that'll be done? Roughly
2024 opening, hopefully, provided everything goes well. So 2020, the rest of 2022 will be preparing for construction in 2023, reopening in 2024. Their community programming is happening in a few distributed sites while they're closed. So that's still going on. So go to the Minneapolis American Indian Center website for information there. But that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's really been an awesome place to go. And I didn't realize it's been around since 1972. That's even cooler to hear. A lot of history, and I think before they start construction, I'm going to go sneak down in the basement and get some memorabilia before they throw it out. Oh,
right.
wow.
Well, and one cool thing is that it's going to be the site of the American Indian Movement Archives. Will be hosted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hey, Robert, we'll be right back. Stay with us, right? You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Hi, Minnesota. This is David Packman. You can hear my show every weekday at 2, right after Tom Hartman on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad from the Minocqua Brewing Company, and I sell Choice Hard Seltzer. Choice is an all-natural, 105-calorie grapefruit-flavored hard seltzer for those who believe that a woman's reproductive decisions should remain a private matter between her and her doctor. When you purchase Choice Hard Seltzer, 5% of the proceeds go to support reproductive rights organizations in Minnesota.
Drink progressively with Minocqua Brewing. Get Choice Hard Seltzer at Lake Wine and Spirits in Uptown and Center's Liquor and Supermarket in Northeast Minneapolis. Find other Twin Cities locations at MinocquaBrewingCompany.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Tune in for Philosophy Talk, the program that questions everything.
Accept your intelligence.
Coming up, the scandalous truth about memoir.
I could never write a memoir. Why would anyone do that?
Don't you think we can learn from other people's experiences?
Learn from a bunch of lies and self-deceptions?
Ray Briggs, My Life as a Skeptic. I think you should read it.
The truth about memoir. Next time on Philosophy Talk.
Philosophy Talk, every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 950.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 49, then sunshine on Friday with a high of 70. Crooners is back after an exciting renovation featuring a new dining room, the brand new Maggie's Lounge, and expanded main stage seating. That's Crooner Supper Club, just north of 694 off Highway 65 in Fridley. More at croonersmn.com.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
I love this show, and Wendy is awesome. I'm just reading her.
I agree.
Hey,
smart listeners.
Silly.
Right on. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, and he is the CEO of the Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities. And we really like to stop in and talk to Robert about a lot of different things locally and nationally. And I don't want to become a downer here, but I just want to talk to you a little bit about what happened in Texas still, and kind of just all this weird stuff that's coming out with Texas, and it's like heartbreaking, and in the same time, and it's confusing, and we just have to put some tobacco out. It's just crazy, Robert.
Yep, tobacco down, prayers up. It's hideous, and we talked about this last week as well. And every time this happens, we always say, "Oh, things are going to change. Things are going to change." And I don't have the stats right in front of me, but it's somewhere around the magnitude of this is the 233rd mass shooting of the year in this country, and so that's a daily, more than daily kind of event. And I don't know. I just have to hold on to hope that people will start valuing lives, especially, more than guns, but we'll see.
Wow. Yeah, I know. It's just hard. And, there's all these things that, I guess we talk about, because we're both into like love media and stuff, is that, we have short memories, and, voters have short memories, and we're really coming up to that point where we have to remind our relatives about what the Republicans are and aren't doing, and it should be a no-brainer, but again, we have a short memory.
Right. Well, and you look at what Canada's doing in response to mass shootings in our country. They're behaving the way I would wish our country would, and really setting up some strict controls, right, and restrictions, and gun proponents and the Republicans bring out their list of, it's not the guns, it's this, and this. But then if you just face the reality that we're the only country in the world that has these kinds of mass shootings on any kind of regular basis, more or less at all. And so it's hard to figure that it's not the guns and that some kind of actions. You look at California, they've put in sensible gun controls, as we say, and it's had an impact, right? And so so something's got to happen. It's getting to the point where, out of our staff, we're engaging in active shooter training with our staff, and we do a lot of community kinds of events. And we were just at our farm last Friday, and a shooting, a gunfight broke out right there. Bullets were flying through the trees, and it's just like, come on. I mean, and that's why we're there. We're there to bring good traffic, good spirits, to drive out the bad traffic and the bad spirits, right? But it was a really stark reminder, with a bunch of community members present, children present. That's not a way to live.
No, not at all, and that's heartbreaking just to hear. We go back to the corridor story too, and how well and successful that was protected by the community during the George Floyd uprising. And it's something to hang our hat on and be proud of, how people really helped out.
They did. They stepped up. And, I don't know if you've read this yet, but Louise Erdrich's novel, The Sentence, her latest novel. And, of course, Louise Erdrich, Pulitzer Prize renowned author and local here, right? And Louise owns a bookstore here and writes, is based here. And this novel, The Sentence, is very real life based. There's a character, Louise, an author who owns a bookstore. There's all this, the locations and people in our community are characters in this story. And I know from talking to her sister, the famous poet Hyde Erdrich, who was a board member of ours at NACDI, until recently. She cycled off. She termed out. But she was telling me that Louise was writing a story about COVID, right, and the impacts of COVID on the community. And then in real time, George Floyd was murdered. And suddenly that becomes a pivotal event in that novel. And the part I'm at right now is during some of the unrest. And she talks about what the community did. She talks about our little yellow building on Franklin, where the community came together and organized that protection of our community, of our people, of our assets, of our non-native neighbors and assets. And she names people that are characters now in this book, but that were very strong presence. Al Gross, Bob Rice, Frank Perro, who now leads the game. So it's like almost reading a newscast of what you experienced.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the name of that? What's the name of that book?
It's called The Sentence. And
Wow.
I'm a big fan of Louise Erdrich's writing. I think I read everything that she's written, but this one's next level.
Wow, that's great. So what else is going on? What's going on with the river? I know last week you were with a prominent Omar, or
Representative
Eric.
Omar.
And
so that work is going great, Robert. And we just, we've convened this Native Partnership Council to guide this work, and now it's trying to figure out how to really authentically put these voices, representative of the Dakota tribes in Minnesota, and then of the mostly Dakota community, and it's a challenge, and we're trying to keep it very cultural based, spiritually based. We had a beautiful ceremony along the river this week that has yielded some really interesting direction and guidance from our elders, and it's exciting. I don't really have much to talk about right now because this is all churning, but there's just something going on here that is different from any kind of community engagement process or place-based planning process that I've ever been part of. And I've been in part of thousands, literally, of these guys, and everyone that's involved in it, and some incredible leading cultural characters like Mona Smith and Juanita Espinoza are involved in this and giving us guidance. And they're saying the same thing, that this is different from anything they've been involved with. So I'm hoping that we can, my objective is keep the Native voice central, keep it authentic, and we'll see. But there's always challenges.
Yeah, and that's really exciting, like a veteran like you to be able to say that, and we all say water is life, and that's just an awesome events that are going to happen there. So we got a couple more minutes here, and we're really revving up here on our show, and we're going to be doing Rock the Vote Native Style on Tuesdays, I do believe, during preempting this show. And so we're going to be excited about bringing Native politicians and allies all across Turtle Island on our show. And I don't know, I like the political season. I know a lot of people don't, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you hope, right? And change can happen, and this is a very important election cycle. And I don't know if you can see my T-shirt, but it's our newly debuted logo for Make Voting a Tradition. And so we're continuing that work. We're allies in your work, Robert. So please let us know how we can support you. But this is a biggie, and we can already see on the national levels that there's a lot of interest in what happens here with Native votes. And so there's going to be resources, there's going to be opportunities to engage. And the thing I love about Make Voting a Tradition is that it has a really deliberate intergenerational aspect to our strategies. Young people getting their elders to vote, even young people who aren't eligible to vote yet, but still getting the eligible members of their family, their elders to vote. And then once those young people turn 18, then they'll vote. And statistics show if someone votes when they're 18, they are so much more likely to continue voting throughout their life. So we're trying to make voting a tradition.
Yeah, and I had an opportunity with the shirt you're wearing is to color my own, but I didn't trust myself. So that was a great idea to have colored markers there, and I saw some that were done really well.
Yeah, so that was a contest. We settled on this logo. It's been quite a process. We engaged a Native artist who isn't close to a lot of artist opportunities. He lives out in rural South Dakota, and he had done this for a coloring book for us. And then the Make Voting a Tradition folks loved it so much, they worked it into a logo with the same artist. So we were able to provide him another opportunity. And then so to debut it, we debuted it at our open house. It was great to see you there. It was a lot of fun. And so our staff did coloring, and then the crowd could vote on the designs. And so we'd each done some, not just coloring, but decorating of the shirts.
Right.
Now we'll use them for door prizes or something throughout the season.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm excited, to work with NACDI on this upcoming, and we'll be starting that in July on Tuesdays at the same time, and with Nancy Bolio and myself as hosts, and we'll bring you in whenever you feel need, and we'll do it up in a good way.
I love it. Yep. And as folks know, and maybe your folks listening in other states, Minnesota was part in the 2020 election cycle, part of what was called the 7-state strategy, where there were 7 states where it was determined that the Native vote was enough to swing elections. And so we did coordinated strategies amongst those 7 states. Minnesota was really, Make Voting a Tradition was a big part of that. And in 3 of those states, it's demonstrable that the Native vote actually did swing those elections. So our voice has power, our vote has power.
It really does. And, we have to figure out who we're going to put in as sheriff this time around, because I know your organization and our shows and just getting the last one out there really helped out. So we really have to figure out who we're going to get out there.
Yep, we'll follow your lead, Robert. You're the kingmaker with the Hennepin County Sheriff.
Hey, well, on that note, Robert, thanks for stopping in. Great to see you. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Are you nervous to go to your mailbox and see one more past due mortgage bill? You could qualify for financial assistance through Home Help MN if you have fallen behind on your mortgage payments due to the pandemic. This Minnesota housing program even has money available to help with other past due mortgage-related expenses. Learn more at homehelpmn.org or call 1-800-388-3226.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Wow. That was a good one. Hey, Ogama, I don't know if you want to say something, but our feed was broken up before we get to Wendy, and just let our listeners that have been watching us and listening to us online, our feed got a little messed up somehow.
Yeah, so our feed ended and restarted, and there's a few minutes missing in the middle, but you can always check us out. Our feed was continuous on YouTube and on our Twitter, so you can always check us out there or listen to us on TuneIn, Spotify, and I believe Apple Music, iTunes.
Yep, definitely perfect. And hey, now we got the star of the show, Wendy Pilot, on, and she's in New York right now, checking out in our other studio. And what you talk about our sacred animals, and again, I should use this as a tagline, but it's like I learn something new every day. That's probably should be my tagline. So you talking about our relatives with hooves, wings, fangs, and flat tails and flat noses and all those things.
Exactly.
Take it away.
Yeah, I want to thank Ogama too for bringing up the story about the bison earlier, and also the fish, sturgeon. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really great news when animals or a species is thriving and doing really well on the brink of extinction, or on the brink of not being around for so long. So I really appreciate that. So thank you, Ogama. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. And I always like to thank Curtis for that name. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. It's always my pleasure to do that. I found a really fun article. You'll appreciate this, Robert and Ogama. The Crew of Reservation Dogs, which is a series on Hulu, helps 14 stray pets that they found on set there, and they raised money for the Tulsa shelter. This is a story by Fox29.com. It's back in May 16th, 2022. We have a picture, I believe, of the actors on Reservation Dogs with the puppies that they found. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Cherokee filmmaker Britt Hensel says some of the cast and crew of Reservation Dogs is hoping to raise awareness and money for Tulsa SPCA while they're in town filming. Hensel took to Instagram over the weekend to share some of the pictures of the cast and crew members holding some of the 14 pets they have helped save while filming season 2 of the popular Hulu series. The actors you could see here, we're giving the puppy water here. Her post says on average, it takes $750 for the Tulsa SPCA to take in a single animal, and our crew on Reservation Dogs has saved 7 dogs and 7 cats so far. The crew work to raise donations for the animal shelter as well. The Tulsa SPCA says they are thankful for the cast that they are reaching out to them when they find these stray pets. The Tulsa SPCA says more than $2,200 was donated after just one day of the post being put up. Two dogs found on the film set are up for adoption right now, and I'm sure that they have been adopted out by now. One of the posted pictures also shows a newborn kitten. So they have the kittens also. So if you want to go to Tulsa SPCA and donate some money to them, they help out a lot of animals, and I'm hoping that all the animals by now are in homes and are safe and sound. And thank you to the crew of Reservation Dogs on Hulu. That's a series that we have watched. Robert, have you watched that, Ogama?
Yes, I have
Yeah.
watched Reservation Dogs. Sorry, it took me just a minute to come off of mute there.
Yeah.
And it's honestly such a wonderful show.
Yeah, definitely. I'm
I
finding
saw you
trying to
stick your hood and I'm going, Ogama, you haven't been on a long time. This is radio, not television.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find my next story here.
Great
I don't know.
story.
I don't know where it is. I don't know if I could read it offhand. So I was talking about war dogs, like dogs who spent a time in war and really helped people get through the war, help them emotionally, and got them saved. And my story and my notes, I don't know where they are. Oh,
Well,
here I found it.
I
No,
was
I
gonna say,
didn't.
I can talk a little bit again about
Oh,
talking
here, I
not
found
only
it.
about Reservation Dogs, but we were
Yeah.
talking to Rutherford Falls yesterday, and really excited
Mhm.
to have that 3-part series come out on our show coming up soon. And they're going live with their show on June 16th, I do believe.
Mhm.
Find it now when?
Yeah, I did. I found it. Thank you so much for
Go ahead.
getting on there. It was actually a link that I had put on something else. But I was talking about some dogs. I don't think I have this dog we're going to talk about in a minute. His name's Nemo. We're going to talk about Smokey first. There's Smokey. So people who are watching us on Facebook, you could see Smokey, who is a teeny little Yorkshire Terrier sitting inside a helmet of one of the soldiers' helmets. It's really cute. A 4-pound Yorkshire Terrier proves that war dogs come in all shapes and sizes. Found in New Guinea jungle by an American soldier during World War II, Smokey was later sold to another soldier, Corporal William Wayne from Cleveland, Ohio. Wayne and Smokey stayed together for the next 2 years of the war, and the little dog survived the heat, limited food rations, typhoons, air raids, combat missions, and even a 30-foot parachute jump. And it's quotes here saying that she had her very own special parachute. Wayne credits his dog with saving his by guiding him away from incoming fire on a transport ship. Smokey is also now recognized as the first therapy dog, as she spent many hours both during the war and back at home visiting veterans and entertaining them with a variety of collection of tricks that Wayne taught her after the war. Smokey and Wayne made numerous TV appearances together, performing tricks and telling their amazing story. Smokey lived in Cleveland with Wayne and his family until her death in 1957 at age 14. On Veterans Day in 2005, a memorial for Smokey was unveiled in the Rocky Reservation of the Cleveland Metro Parks in Lakewood, Ohio. The statue features the tiny dog sitting inside the combat helmet, smiling her trademark smile. So, this goes back a long way, and she was known as the first therapy dog. We're going to talk about Nemo next. Nemo, in 1966, a German Shepherd dog named Nemo, and his handler, Airman Second Class Robert Thornsberg, both survived gunshot wounds while fighting in Vietnam. A bullet hit Nemo in the muzzle, but the brave dog stayed strong and charged 4 gunmen, giving Thornburg, who was shot in the shoulder, enough time to call for reinforcements. Thornburg and Nemo both survived, but Nemo's right eye had to be removed. Nemo was sent back to the Lakeland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, where he had been trained to recover after the care of the base's veterinarians. Nemo lived out the rest of his life in Lakeland in his own special kennel and served as an inspiration for countless handlers and trainers.
Wow. Thank you, Wendy. I just want to end with these thoughts. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Hey, Minnesota, I'm Rick Smith, host of The Rick Smith Show, and